Welcome to the books of 1 and 2 Samuel. Now, you're going to love these books. These books are books that you can experience. Some books, when you sit in them, it's like you are studying them, and there's going to be, like Romans, one sentence takes some time to meditate over and really get the benefit out of it. But in 1 and 2 Samuel, there's such rich books, but they're books to experience. So 1 and 2 Samuel, we're going to do them together, and we're just going to do two parts because we really want you to adventure into the lives of these three main characters in the books of 1 and 2 Samuel. So they are Samuel first, Saul, and then David. These incredible people in the Bible. Now, I love learning about the history of the Bible. I love going through Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers. I love learning about our ancestry. And, you know, Christianity has a solid foundation. It has so much history to it. And I love learning about these people. But you are going to learn about these people in the raw, their failures. You watch David as he sins with Bathsheba. You know, you do these incredible journeys with Saul, who's this king who's trying things out, and you know, he does things wrong, and he gets angry at David and he gets jealous. And to me, it's kind of encouraging because you feel like if God's putting these people in the Bible and these are our ancestors, these are our pinnacle of the faith, it's encouraging how God uses anyone, and when the Spirit of God comes upon you, you can do this. David becomes this mighty king. So now what's happening in 1 and 2 Samuel? 1 and 2 Samuel are pinnacle parts of the Old Testament. Now, when you read these books, you can read them and just brush over what's actually happening, but I want you to stop, because what's actually happening in 1 Samuel and 2 Samuel is we are coming from what's called a theocracy to a monarchy. What does that mean? Theocracy means that God was in control. He was the king, and God would deliver them. He'd send people to take care of them. He would fight for them. He would war for them. He would go before them with the Ark of the Covenant and the Ark of His presence. He would come in. You know, you read in Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Deuteronomy, all the miracles that He did to save His people. And that's what's called a theocracy. That means that God was king. And in the beginning, you know that Samuel is in fact the last judge. How cool is that? So you've got all the judges of judges, and then don't forget Samuel, because he is the final judge, meaning the deliverer that was sent by God to save His people. He is the final judge. And what happens is the people aren't happy with having God as king, and they reject Him. And they say, you know what, we're sick of you being king, and we don't know what's going to happen, and you know, the enemies are coming against us. And the fear of the enemy actually makes them swap into what's called a monarchy, meaning a human king that rules and reigns. Now, Samuel the prophet says, look, don't do it. It's going to be bad. It's not going to work. But again, the people in human fear take and say, look, we no longer want God as king. We want a monarchy. And so we set up Saul as the first king, and then David, and then the lineage of David goes on. So you are going to love this book. There are some key scriptures, chapters that I want you to jump in, which show this theocracy to monarchy. And it's in fact 1 Samuel 7 is the last time that God delivers His people. So you can see in 1 Samuel 7, Samuel, this spiritual leader, cries out to God, and God delivers His people in a thunderstorm. How cool is that? Defeats the enemy in a thunderstorm. And then you've got 1 Samuel 12, and then you've got 2 Samuel 7. So read these chapters that show these pinnacle points going from God as their king to a human king. Now, 1 and 2 Samuel and 1 and 2 Kings in the Hebrew Bible were in fact one book. So as you read these, you're going to go through and go, why are the endings so weird? They just stop. Because in fact, in the beginning, these were called, the 1 and 2 Samuel, 1 and 2 Kings were one text. And what happens is they were divided into 4 books called the 4 books of the Kings. So as you're reading 1 and 2 Samuel, as I said, it gets to the end, you've got to keep going. Read 2 Samuel. And then when we finish 2 Samuel, keep going and read 1 and 2 Kings, and you'll get the whole context. Now, these are written about 1050 to about 970 BC. when you see 1 and 2 Samuel and 1 and 2 Kings, it spans 4 centuries of the history of Israel. The author of these books is unknown, which is fine because we've just got such incredible historical context in these books. You are going to love it. Jump in with Samuel, this incredible prophet, the final judge of God. Jump into Saul, where he makes all his mistakes. Jump into David, seeing David as the king, seeing David set up and the lineage of David set up. Have a ball as you read these books and really encounter the lives of these incredible people.